I'm convinced that moving back to gold and silver will solve not every single problem, but it would bring the entire planet back into balance with humanity. As long as interest rates stay where they are or rise further, and they will, then eventually there's going to be a housing crash, because that's what happens to prices. I mean, when yields go up, prices go down. It's the same with bonds, it's the same with mortgages, the same with any rate versus price. They always go inverse. Sometimes there's a delay. So there seems to be a delay now. How long will the delay last? But I guarantee you that when it does hit, we won't be scrutinizing over how long the delay happened to be. We won't even remember that it happened. It'll just be, history, just like it is every time. When rates go up, prices go down for anything. Some central banks have gold, and in countries where central banks have some amount of gold will be slightly less valuable because the supply will be higher. So where there is no gold, it'll be that much more desperate to get it in so that they can have an economy too. So yeah, I think there will be some opportunities to buy rental properties in Israel. I would swap silver for some gold, just because I would want to lock that in, and once a new gold substitute is established after the dollar collapses, then silver is probably going to lose value pretty quickly. Once there's a new substitute in place. So the first thing I would want to spend is my silver, and I would spend some of it by moving it into gold, so I'd have more time to consider what to do with it. But if I could exchange silver coins for assets, I would do that. This rally that's been happening since, I don't know, 2 or 3 months now, it's not going to last, because the money supply is still falling, and it's going to be falling for quite a while yet, until the Fed drops interest rates back to zero again. So any excuse for the market to sell off, it will. That's the tilt that we're on now, and I got to realize that. In terms of maybe a predictive trend, or I'm not saying it's insignificant. It's a newsworthy thing, and pay attention to it. But in terms of is this going to save the currencies of these central banks? I don't think so, because so they're accumulating gold now, fine, but they've been selling it from what was that chart that chart in that article was from like about 1990 to 2011. They were selling it year after year after year. So they still have a lot less gold than they did back then, and they have a lot more of their currencies out in circulation. So it's a good sign for stackers, and it's not going to save their currencies. America is in such a weak position now. All you got to do is sell a bunch of the treasuries that you own, and that'll be it. I don't know. I'm thinking. I mean, I saw silver sell off. It was only like a 2-day sell off. I don't think we're going back to lows. So at some point it reverses. What would be the immediate aftermath of a CPI that's higher than expected? I would expect that maybe in the first day or two that gold and silver would sell off, as the narrative would be, the Fed's going to raise interest rates higher now, faster. But then a day or two later it should reverse again, maybe even on no news, because this is what happens at the at the end of rate hiking cycles. I mean, you get closer and closer to a Fed pivot, and gold and silver sniff it out. So I think I'm saying an initial sell off, and then a day or two later a reversal. Is that necessary? I'm not going to bank any money on that. I'm not going to try to trade it. I mean, the whole narrative of when rates go up, gold goes down, that's only very superficially true on a very short time scale. But you look at the 70s and 80s, that's when rates were being pushed up to double digits, even up to 20%. And that's when gold was specifically the highest it's ever been. So why would it be any different now? It's going to be the same thing. I think Daniel Oliver talks about this. When interest rates go up, gold goes up. That's what that's what happens over time. I mean,
the other thing as well, in an economy that is so dependent on cheap credit, when interest rates and yields are going up very quickly, that will lead to a rising cost of living, will lead to higher prices. Yeah, but the Keynesians think that it will slow down the economy and bring down inflation, and they always seem to be wrong. Talking about inflation, Rafi, how far do you see the Fed allowing the M2 to correct down?
Well, look, the money supply doesn't have to contract much in order to start an avalanche, because you need consistently growing money supply in order to because the faster the pyramid grows, the faster it has to grow to keep growing, because you get you get more and more and more layers. I mean, so each layer is bigger than the one before it, and then it takes more money to fill that one up. So if M2 stops expanding for even a little bit, the whole thing comes crashing
Crumbles down.
That's,
Yeah, it's like the extra pyramid, the inverted
yeah,
one.
that's
Yeah,
exactly what.
you take a little bit off it and it just crumbles. Yeah, but to inflate the pyramid, it takes a lot, but it doesn't take much to prick the bubble, so to speak.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
1929, that's what happened. They tried to keep inflating, they couldn't. So money supply just stopped growing for about 6 months in 1929, and that was the end. That's one of the fallacies that I hear a lot. Well, let's say people say that America's in bad shape financially, but China is going to be the next powerhouse and they're going to lead the world. I don't think so, because both America and China and pretty much every other country is inflated. We're going to be in a global depression where the people with the power will be the people with the gold.
yeah. What about Russia? Because Russia, I mean, they do have high inflation, but their national debt is like below 20%. They don't seem to be as leveraged, but yeah, they've withstood everything that's been thrown at them, so they might do fairly well in the collapse. What's your view on that?
Yeah, maybe Russia will do relatively better than everyone else, but it's not like any government is going to do well, because it's the governments themselves that will suffer the most from the collapse of the value of their currencies. Everyone's going to suffer. I mean, there's going to be no place that's going to be completely spared from this. And it's not like any country has anything close to sound money, including Florida, because Florida's on the dollar system. Everyone inflates. Everyone's going to suffer. And the only ones who are going to spare themselves sufficiently are individuals, because we're the only ones that are putting ourselves on a gold standard, and even we're not going to escape completely. I mean, we're going to do the best that we can.